hypothalamus, and this has to do with health, being healthy. The hypothalamus, there's something where how do I broach this topic and get into it? You know, the hypothalamus, the situation when you're eating glucose, there are only a few ways to get this process for the hypothalamus. It's called the hypothalamic glucose sensing via K-ATP channels. So if you have Yukon potatoes or those red skin potatoes and they have a little bit of a waxiness to them, and it's the same with oatmeal, similar mechanism. Their potatoes digest slowly just because of the structure of the cells, don't break down quickly like russet potatoes, Idaho potatoes, or French fries break down slowly. So you're getting this slow, steady, continuous stream of glucose. And oatmeal, because oatmeal has so much fiber, also breaks down slowly. But it is not common in most of the foods that we eat that it gives us this relief to the hypothalamus, which the hypothalamus, if it's not getting that steady stream, steady supply of glucose, your energy is inhibited, your dopamine is inhibited, and dopamine is motivational, or, you know, gives you motivation, gives your brain permission to burn energy. So you see people, you see them in traffic, you see them at work, you see their doomerism and their, oh God, what now, what next, I don't want to, please don't, why me, type of attitude. And it's interesting, it's actually something that you can overcome. You don't have to eat a lot, maybe like 2 smaller sized potatoes or half a cup of oats, and then you can have this process. It's a specific process that I can get the AI to go line by line to what the process is, but if you're not in this mode, you're in a scarcity mode, and you're in this scarcity mode, not wanting to exercise, use energy, not feeling optimistic, feeling more paranoid, feeling more like you are, oh, I just need an opportunity. When I get the opportunity, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get the food. I'm going to feel all right. It's going to be all right. So you're in that mode, and you're not feeling like expending energy does not feel good. Because most of our ancestors, 2 billion years of life, tree of life, all those ancestors from I think most of that time was single cell, and then going on from the ocean creatures coming out of the ocean, whatever those ancestors, food was scarce, calories were scarce. So being in that mode of scarcity and glucose being scarce, I mean, just the fact that we have this pathway or a type of on-off switch, and I don't know, I feel like that's kind of interesting, compelling, little bit content or bit of information, something you might not know. I didn't know it. I was just poking around at different types of foods, talking to the AI about it, and it told me about this in the last few days. I've been feeling it. I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but it feels like it works. And with oats, with something like oats, like doing a half a cup or a full cup of oats dry, which ends up being quite a bit of oats, is something I've tended to avoid, to not get, not taking in so much oats. It feels like There are better options for things to take in than that much grain, but having a little more oats, having two fairly, like baseball sized red skin potatoes, you really do feel it. You feel a sense of like satisfaction, equanimity, and a kind of carpe diem, I can do it, let's do it type of feeling. And so I see that people are not satisfied in general out there. It's getting worse. There's good reason for it. But the fact that you can get that feeling just from a few potatoes or some oats. And I'm gonna talk about three more. There's three more things that I think on that topic of health and good feelings that I could share or go into. The second one I'll get into is palate fatigue. Palate fatigue. Palate fatigue. And this is something like all the food producers, all your, like whether it's junk food producers or gourmet food or in between, or, like growing up, your parents had probably just a certain amount of meals in rotation. And then when you went to the friend's house and you had something that was like one of their best things that parent knew how to make when you were a kid, and it's just mind-blowing how good it is. It's because you're overcoming the palate fatigue, which the feeling. It's the same sense of listening to a song too many times, or this is my favorite movie, I'm going to watch my favorite movie again. I've watched a repeat of this movie before, I'm going to watch a repeat again. I'm going to listen to the song again. It's going to be good. And then it's like, so what? I don't hate it, but not that good. So palate fatigue, overcoming palate fatigue, in addition to dealing with this. And can I give my advice? Is that too annoying to give advice on the internet or a how-to? But palate fatigue, pretty simple. Things go on sale. You walk into the supermarket. The grapes are on sale because they're in season. The watermelon is on sale because it's in season. And different combinations, So that's the second one. And I'm not just talking about like feel-good tricks to overcome the brain. These are things that, people are diseased. People are overweight. And not just overweight, but eating that junk, that processed food just to get that satisfaction when you could be getting it from overcoming palate fatigue. You could be getting it by doing what was the word again? Hypothalamic glucose sensing via KATP channels. So instead of from junk food, instead of from processed food, instead of from added sugar and added oil. So you have added sugar and added oil on this one end. If that's a 0, which is added sugar, added oil, that's a 0. It's very bad because it's a high amount of calories, very low nutrients. What you could have on the opposite end is fruits and vegetables, which is a challenge to figure out how to deal with them, how to eat them. But having them, you're getting very dense, very high nutrients per calorie. Not very many calories. Not a lot of calories in wilted baby spinach. And not totally, they don't compete with added sugar and added oil. They don't compete with a deep fried Twinkie. but some wilted baby spinach with, a little bit of tahini and some vinegar. You will definitely overcome palate fatigue if you've had it, because that's probably not something you have every day, but you can get satisfaction from that. So that was 2, palate fatigue and the continuous stream of glucose from red skin potatoes. The third would be to always have the umami flavor present. There are 5 major flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami. These are some umami flavors in here. Sounds complicated. Is complicated the word, or sounds exotic? It's a Japanese word, umami, but it's savory. If you've ever had the ramen noodle flavor packet, the chicken or beef flavor, and you eat that stuff and it has that very savory, kind of like Parmesan cheese, that's umami. It's glutamic acid. So having that in every bite, that's another way to get satisfaction and move away from the added sugar and the added oil. Just go to the DMV, go to the Walmart. It's too much added sugar. It's too much added oil. If you're on that stuff, I don't want to judge. Hopefully this information is interesting. But tomato paste, that might even be peanut butter there. Maybe it's miso paste. But just remember, peanut butter and tomato paste, because peanut butter can go with most fruits. Tomato paste can go with most vegetables. So having those there, covering everything, almost everything in your supermarket produce section, which we said is high in nutrients, lower in calories, high in all the stuff that's really good for you, the phytochemicals, the polyphenols, water, vitamin C, the mixed greens, all the different. How many greens are there? There's bok choy, there's spinach, kale, chard. I don't think anyone says these things are bad for you or that people out there are getting enough, but that's the third one. You can look at more things that have this umami flavor, but just tomato paste and just peanut butter should be enough. And then if I go for the fourth general trick, would be having fat contrast with sour as 2 elements in your meal. Fat is not a flavor. Salt is a flavor, but there's not good visuals on this. But to have some vinegars, learning the vinegars. If you hate vinegar, balsamic vinegar is a good one to start out with. Very sweet as far as the vinegars go. And when you move on, having that in your pantry, along with some tahini, which is a sesame seed butter. So just doing a tablespoon of tahini, or even teaspoon tahini, teaspoon balsamic vinegar, will make anything you're eating have more contrast to it. The fat, whether it's tahini or the avocado, will cover up your tongue, cover up the palate, cover up the food itself. Flavors are flavonoids. They're fat soluble. They get covered up by fat. So your palate is your tongue, and then through the roof of your mouth, olfactory system, your nose, the part of your nose behind your face. These are all food science things and expert food production things that I'm going through, that food producers know. I don't think they know about this hypothalamus thing, but the other ones I mentioned, fat contrasted with sour, overcoming palate fatigue, and umami. But fat with sour, as I was saying, having fat, and that fat covers up the palate. When you have sour, that cuts through it, so you're getting a strobe sensation of flavors disappearing, flavors reappearing. Like a strobe or someone turning a light switch off and on is more interesting and eye-catching if you're walking down the street and you see a room in a house with a light turning off and on. It's it's not entertaining, but it's more compelling and interesting to look at. So you get that same effect. Having fat contrasted with sour in a meal, whatever's on your fork, having umami on your fork, and having a flavor in there that is overcoming palate fatigue. And then, so these are things. This is really the objective for health. I know this is not a Zillow stream or a house stream anymore, but seems like knowledge only I am in possession in, that I don't really ever see out there, not even from the longevity people or the health nut people. But you deploying these 4 things and getting that satisfaction, why it matters for food and for diet, because your bulk of what you eat, you don't have to count calories if you're eating produce, because the amount of calories and stuff like this is very limited. You'll be very full before you fill, before you stuff your belly with a lot of calories, if this is what you're filling your belly with. So you can eat as much as you want if you just add more in there, and you will be ripped and feel good and feel energetic. I don't think anyone, whatever your preference, whoever you are, I think most would want their vis-a-vis their potential romantic interest to have abs. You know what I mean? And you can do that if you're more centered on getting satisfaction from the supermarket, whatever you want to stick to now, whatever disgusting food or whatever your belief system of foods that you will never give up. At least if you're adding in more of these things and you're filling your stomach full of all of these, what can you say about, like, let me ask the AI, open image in new tabs. So look at this shelf full of produce and name all of the more common nutrients that are in these foods, and then name the things that might be more exotic, like the polyphenols or the sulforaphane and other things like this that are unique to foods, produce like this. So I'm a little bit at a loss to describe all this stuff. Maybe the AI can help me out a little bit with that. Polyphenols, I said that. Antioxidants, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin C. So getting all this stuff, it doesn't hurt your mood, your gut, your neurotransmitters, and then being in shape and not overdoing it, taxing, racking your system with straight up food with white sugar added and oil added, you know what I mean? So having these, getting more of these down. Point that I'll end on is like sleep, diet, and exercise is your foundation for health. And sleep is just something you do or you don't do. It involves like saying no to the TV, saying no to whatever is going to prevent you from getting into bed at like 10 o'clock, 10:15, and then for you to quietly drift off by 11. As long as you get into position, and then like these are of these three: sleep, diet, and exercise. Sleep is something you do or don't do. Exercise is an even simpler thing you do or you don't do. No one would say that exercise is really necessarily easy or fun, especially if you're off work and situated and on the couch, getting up and going out. Not really fun or easy, but definitely simple. You can go from the state of not exercising to exercising just by tyranny of will very easily, even easier than you can from going to awake to asleep. But either one, you're still just doing simple things. But when it comes to diet, those 4 things I named are not as obvious and not as simple, and cultivating the skill to have umami, fat and sour, overcoming palate fatigue, which would involve learning how to eat new things like this in new ways, is going to be a bit of a challenge. And let's see, there's some Yukon potatoes down there, so that part's easy. But really my point is that when it comes to health, and 96% of people say that they want to become more healthy when they're asked if you could be more healthy, is how they respond. But it's really diet and getting good nutrients per calorie, really getting more fruits and vegetables into your belly, like pounds of them every day, is the hurdle, like is the only thing that you have to overcome. That is a challenge, because it's not only that eating and getting food and being satisfied, which were the things why I brought those up, that it gives you more satisfaction without a cheap trick of added sugar and added oil, but it's that diet has the property also that diet and food, when it's bad food or junk food, that it changes how food feels, how good food doesn't feel like anything anymore if you become addicted to junk food. Like a salad that you could be fine with, like that you could add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, chopped up, something here, something there, avocado, good vinegar. Like you can assemble a salad that is okay, especially once you get a little more used to it and know what you like. But if you add a salad dressing that has a lot of oil and a lot of sugar in it, very dense calories. Remember we talked about stomach capacity and the ceiling of calories per weight per unit of volume. Sugar, you can fit a tremendous amount of calories into a very small space if you're adding sugar, if you're adding oil. And then your tastes, if you use a salad dressing that has a ton of oil and sugar, then your tastes have become acclimated to getting that blast of calories. So when you go back to the salad again, the next time you're going to be feeling like you're eating styrofoam. It's not going to have that same savoriness or satisfaction. And that is a unique aspect of diet that you would need to overcome in order to be healthy. Because you can't fix bad diet with exercise unless you want to exercise. Like if you want to put on an extra 1,000 calories with added sugar and added oil and you want to exercise that off, that could easily take you like 3 hours, 3.5 hours worth of exercising to burn off an extra 1,000 calories. And most people aren't doing that. Even people that you see in the gym or people that are out jogging that are overweight, God bless them, they're not exercising enough to burn off that extra amount of calories. And those extra calories are hidden into everything, and they're putting them into more and more things as the decades go on. So it's that point, it's that special aspect of added sugar and added oil distorting your taste and making the thing that was good now not taste like anything, and the bad thing tasting better, and to even add even more sugar and more oil to it and making it even worse and making it taste even better. That is a unique aspect to health and your challenge of being healthy, having a healthy diet that you don't get with sleep. Like bad sleep, if your sleep was bad last night, you're probably going to feel more tired and you're probably going to get more deep sleep tonight. But if you got no sleep last night and you get no sleep tonight, suddenly when it's time for good sleep to feel good, it will feel good. It will feel like getting a good night's sleep will feel better than a night's sleep you've had all month. I don't know how many, if you've ever gone 2 days without sleeping, but you have gone 2 days of bad sleep, and eventually when you do get sleep that is like that catch up, recharge, whatever, 10 hours, 12 hours of sleep, it feels good. It doesn't feel like nothing. So you see the analogy between good sleep, bad sleep, good food, bad food. The bad sleep does not make good sleep feel like nothing, whereas the bad food makes the good food feel like nothing and make you want more of the bad thing. So this addiction aspect of food is the biggest challenge, the one that I see out there. So that's why I throw my 2 cents out there, having that, should I go through them again? One more again, the hypothalamus. And I've argued with the AI about this a lot, that it's red skin potatoes and it's oats, and it really doesn't seem to be very much else. And maybe sweet potatoes, but they look back at Neanderthals and very, very early human settlements that they have been eating these things for a long time. So these are foods that somehow, some way, for some reason, that this is what dopamine and usage of energy and giving the green light and the ease, the sense of satisfaction and ease and contentment of the peace, do they call it peace of mind, that you would get that mainly from these two. Then the other one, overcoming palate fatigue. The watermelon you're going to have this summer is going to taste better than anything you've had in a while, because you probably haven't had a good watermelon since last summer, even if you did have any last summer. So overcoming palate fatigue, having umami, a bite of umami on your fork with everything, along with fat, a little bit of avocado or tahini or even hummus, fat, those 3 things I named, along with a contrast of some vinegar or some lemon juice, lemon on there too. So that's my 2 cents on that. Something I wanted to get off my chest. I know it's not in the proper format. I don't know. How do you feel about that? But that's about that. Okay, goodbye.